Hi, I'm Linda. Glad to have you back. I'm doing a seascape today. Very, very plain. Should be easy to do. Um, five or six basic colors and lots of blues. And it looks like an evening sky with very, very calm waters, no big waves or anything, just coming to the shoreline. It should be really pretty. You should be able to follow along with me, pause and paint. So let's get started. So here are the oil paints that I used. Liquid white, titanium white, black, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, Van Dyke brown, green light, yellow ochre, cad yellow, and red. And so now I'm putting liquid white all over, top to bottom. Just a very thin, light coat. In fact, after I get done, I take a shop rag towel, a blue shop towel, and I give it a quick swipe just to take off the excess oil. So now I'm starting to do the corners with Prussian blue, a little bit of phthalo blue, and black because I want it really dark. So I'm doing the corners, X strokes, working across. Getting the corners quite dark. And now I'm taking a 1" and just doing circular motions, adding a little white to my brush, and softening those edges. Going up into it just a little bit and just softening all the edges, adding a little white. And now I'm taking a fan brush, I'm adding some more white to the bottom edge of that, just softening that edge. Just creating a billowy look. And using a dry brown brush, I'm just softening and pulling down. I'm creating, it looks like kind of a rain cloud, but I'm pulling down some of that blue and softening. There I'm using a fan brush to just kind of little lines there, and then I'll brush it smooth, soft. Just to create a soft rain look, I guess, from in the distance. Continuing to soften, making irregular lines. Adding a little white to my brush there, tapping. And same with the other side. I'm just adding some more of that dark blue and pulling it out just a little bit. Just brushing across and then softening those bottom dark clouds. And if you think you have too much paint there, just take a shop towel and just lay it over the top. and pull it off. Well, here I am making some distant mountains, far, far away. I've got the same dark, dark blue, and it's just above the halfway line. You visualize it's about halfway on your canvas, maybe slightly higher. But I'm filling that in, creating a back mountain. No real detail there. And I'm going to add another one, a little lower, can not quite be so high up. And I kind of want the two to connect, so we'll fill that in, shape it the way you want it, and then fill it in. So when you get it just right, just fill it in. And I extended the land on that far right mountain out to the edge, leaving some of that light to show above. I'm taking dark, dark blue, and I'm putting land underneath that. That's where the water's going to meet, way back there. And I'm taking a little lighter blue, added a little white to the same mixture, and I'm going to do the center underneath those really bright, bright clouds. I don't want that as dark. On the other side, I'm going to use the dark, dark blue again, really dark, just under those clouds. And it's actually far away buildings. So I'm just making pretend buildings that, you know, peek up a little bit. Not really mountains, it's more of a town way, way back there. And then I'll continue to make the dark line to meet the lighter blue. Just extend it out. Okay, now I'm adding some light blue, just very light, the phthalo blue with a little white added to it. And I'm just going to brush in where the water is, keeping it very light in the center of the canvas. And as I go down, I will add a little darker here and there. That white that we've got down on the canvas, liquid white, will help keep things light and help blend better. Just go all the way across. And then bring that light blue not all the way down. We're going to have some shoreline, sandy shoreline up in the bottom, maybe an 1.5 inches, 2 inches. But I'll continue to bring this light blue and adding a little darker there. The light reflection is going to be right the center, so I'm going to make that extra light. I'm leaving some light pieces open there in the water. I'm going to be adding some of the dark blue in there. It's only about maybe 1.5 inches from the bottom. You don't want to go all the way, because that's going to be your sandy area, shoreline. And I'm adding a little white right in there, because that bright light is coming all the way down. And bring a little up too, up and underneath that dark line. So now I've got some dark blue, really dark, like the clouds up there, and I'm making a really thin line underneath that lighter horizon line that we just put in. I'm going to create some layers, light, dark, for a little ways. And underneath that dark blue, I'm going to add a little light under there, a light color, white. Now I'm adding on a fan brush some white. It looks like far away waves. And another row of darker blue under that. And so now taking the dark blue again, and I'm going to make, I don't know if it's land, but it's darker waters that's coming out. I'm leaving a little space there, keeping that light water behind it still visible. And now I'm adding a little bit of the lighter phthalo blue with white underneath that dark area. Now I'm putting some dark, it's just dark light. But I will fill that in, as you'll see, creating, I guess it could be a little landmass that's coming out. Fan brush works good. and creating some shadows underneath that darker area. It doesn't have to be real dark shadows, but medium. Softening that bottom edge. I'm using a filbert there to fill in. That works pretty good. You can really push that paint into the canvas. If you think you have too much, then just put a shop towel over that gently and just touch it here and there and pull it off. You'll take all that excess paint off. Okay, so now I'm adding some dark in the background, just kind of fill in a little bit here and there, little dark areas by the waves. Give it some depth. And that'll go right underneath that white, just a little bit. And right behind it, that just makes it kind of pop out there. And I'm adding a little tiny bit of white underneath that horizon line just to lighten it up a little bit. That light is really bright back there. Just kind of squiggling a little line in there. On the left side, I'm adding some phthalo blue, touch of white. I'm just pulling down that blue into the water there. You see me dipping in that jar, that's thinner. And I like to put a little thinner on my brush, gently wipe it off just a little bit, and then dip it in my paint. It seems to make the paint flow really nice. I'm adding some white in there, some waves. Just leaving some of the dark in there, just putting some nice light waves in there. You see I've got two or three brushes going at the same time. I've got a fan brush with the dark blue on it. I've got a fan brush that has the lighter blue, and one that has white on it. So I'm not continuously washing my brushes. I seem to last. It works better if I have a couple brushes going at the same time. Now I'm using a round brush, blending that blue in, but I want to keep that middle section really, really light. And with my white fan brush, I'm just evening that out a little bit, sliding it over that blue. Shaping that. And I wipe my brush off, tapping it every time because I'm picking up quite a bit of blue. So now I've added a little bit of that green light with a touch of white. I should say a touch of green light with white, because you don't need much green. I did put that in the center there just to give it I don't know, some more interest. So now I am just putting the color in there. I'm just putting color in there, dark here and there, and some white. You see, I'm just not really being that fussy. Just kind of tapping in some waves. So I want to put a different color in there. You can mix the green light with a little phthalo blue, add white to it. You got the prettiest light green. And with a clean fan brush with white on it, I'm keeping some of that dark in front, but I'm making some waves there in the front. And I have a liner that I'm putting different shades of blue and green in there. Excuse me. Then after a while I'll take a very, very soft, the softest brush you can find, I guess, and just gently brush over the top of those. But I'm just laying in some color there. You'll see me bring out the big soft brush. Creating some lines. Floor lines, I guess you might call them. So there's my really soft brush that I use. It's like a sable, very soft, and I just go over the top, tapping after each time I brush, because I don't want to disturb that white wave in there. Just kind of wiggling and softening those colors, blending them together. Now with that same really soft big brush, I made up a little batch of titanium white and added just a little bit of liquid white, and I mixed that in. So it's really, really not real thin like ink, but you can tap your brush in it and it makes for the nicest little waves just by tapping. You can create different waves in there, leaving some of that dark color in there. That's what makes the waves look real. Movement, I guess, they're moving. Just by squiggling that just a little bit. And you can pull down on a few of those back there. They're waves, making little waves. So now I am working on my shoreline, and I've got yellow ochre to touch of brown mixed and a little bit of white, and I even put a little dab of red in there just to give it flesh tone type color. Sand, I'm trying to stay really light. There we go. Really light, and then I will put specks of stones and put some darker areas in there to give it more a realistic look, sand look. And I'm kind of pushing that into my wave a little bit just to blend it, like the water's coming forward onto the sand. Kind of curve it a little bit there. Try to make it as natural looking as possible. There I'm adding, that's a little bird sienna. Just tapping in some color on the bottom there. And I'll tap a little brown in there too, and a little bit here. Now I'm taking a fan brush and I'm just creating some little water lines on the top of the sand. If it's running into the shoreline there. Just kind of zigzag. Just ever so lightly. There I'm making the water flow down a little better on that left corner. And I'm just adding a little light brown in there. Because once the sand is a little wet, it does turn a little dark, so we're trying to make it look a little realistic. Trying to keep the angles looking fairly flat, like it's coming onto the sand. And I'm using my little liner brush with titanium white with a touch of liquid white in that little batch. Makes it flow really good. You can putz around and, correct this however you think, but you want to make sure you don't have two lines exactly the same. You want to change it out a little bit. Now I'm using a palette knife with some straight white. I'm just creating a little edge where the water kind of ends, but I'll fix those after I get this on. I did put a light blue or a kind of a blue line there. That's where I wanted that to end. So now I am thinking about adding some birds. I'm not really a bird person. I mean, I am, but I don't really paint birds. But I'd be attempting to put in 3 seagulls. And they're basically white. Use the liner brush, and the tips of their wings are black. So it was, it was a challenge for me. So I had to mix a little gray up to make the body. But in the end, they look pretty good. It's tedious, but to make the lines, little wings just right, and the angle that they're flying. But it does add a nice touch. Well, I almost think I've got a finished painting here. I really love doing this one, and I hope you do too. Certainly wasn't that hard to put together. So if you like this and want to see more, hit the like button, follow me, share if you'd like. And until next time, God bless and happy painting.